Okay, so till the previous class, we have covered uh, till um, the message confidentiality protection measures. Yes, so till now we were talking about, we have come across all the services. Yes, like security services like confidentiality, integrity, authentication, non-repudiation, authentication. Okay, so authentication, actually there are two types. One is your message authentication, where the receiver needs to be sure that the message has come from the sender and not from someone else. Okay, and there is another authentication, which is the entity authentication, where um, so for symmetric key encryption, we have gone through uh, two techniques basically. Yes, one is Caesar cipher and one is PSLA, Playfair cipher. Then for so symmetric key encryption is basically symmetric key encryption techniques. There are two types. One is substitution and one is transposition. Under substitution, we went through Playfair and Caesar cipher, and then under transposition, we went through two such techniques: row transposition and Feistel structure. Okay. Now, talking about the algorithms used. Okay, symmetric key encryption uses many algorithms like DES, triple DES, AES, Blowfish. Okay, and asymmetric key encryption uses algorithms like RSA, Diffie-Hellman, TSA, etc. So these are some algorithms. Okay, so since we know that here we are using keys. Okay, symmetric key encryption is all about using secret key, and asymmetric key encryption is all about using public key system, that is your private public key pairs. Yes, so here we are all the time using keys. Okay, so you single-handedly cannot use keys for the entire encryption or decryption. You have to make use of some algorithms. So accordingly, they have their own algorithms, and based on that algorithms, the encryption technique. Okay, the way they do the encryption, the length of the keys that we will be using for encryption decryption all varies. Okay, based on the algorithm that is being used. Okay, we will not discuss the algorithms, okay, in for this paper. So whatever I have discussed till now, that much is okay. Okay, for confidentiality. Now we will talk about message integrity. So if you remember, we discussed about hashing in one of our previous classes. We discussed about hashing. So you see, confidentiality is all about to keep a message private. Okay, to prevent it from being accessed by any unauthorized user. That is it. Okay, that is all about confidentiality of a message. Now what is integrity? Integrity is when you don't want your contents to be modified midway when the message is in transit. Okay, when it is being sent, the receiver and the sender should confirm that the message does not get modified midway. Okay, so apart from confidentiality, okay, integrity is also very important. Okay, along with confidentiality. So here we make use of one technique which we called hashing. Okay, so hashing, along with providing um, uh, confidentiality, it also helps to provide message integrity. Okay, so here we will learn how it is done. So before starting with the actual hashing technique, what it is all about and how it works, let us first try and understand some basic terminologies that we use in our regular daily lives. Yes, which is a document and a fingerprint on the document. So as you all know that whenever you write a document, yes, we most of us give fingerprints at the at the end of the document. Yes or no? I mean, बहुत जगह fingerprints due. In fact, when you go for vote, when you go for voting during elections, even in there, you are asked to give your thumb impression. We give our thumb impressions in many places. Yes, so what is that? That is a fingerprint. So what does it do? So actually meaning to ki hai fingerprinter? Je, it just ensures that whatever is there in the document, okay, that after you have your fingerprint on that document, the contents of that document cannot be now illegally changed because the sender has the fingerprint on it. So if you have written some document, if you have written some something, okay, and then you have placed your fingerprint, okay, then some, you know, other person, okay, some third person, some intruder cannot simply go and modify the contents. Why? Because the intruder, see, firstly he directly cannot modify because it is not possible to copy somebody's fingerprint. We have, you know, every person has got, you know, unique fingerprints. No one can copy one another's fingerprint. Sometimes it is possible to copy a signature but not a fingerprint. Okay, so fingerprint is different for all person. Okay, so if I am to say I have received a document with somebody's fingerprint, I am the intruder, I have accessed that document. Okay, I was midway, you know, sitting midway of the transmission process, then I accessed it. Now if I am to modify the contents of that document, okay, then I have to replace the fingerprint. Now who will do the replacement? I won't be able to do the replacement. Do you understand? So since it is not possible to forge, to copy somebody else's fingerprint, okay, therefore fingerprint helps, you know, ensure that the document has not been modified illegally. Okay, so here again we have one example. Alice needs to be sure that the contents of her document will not be illegally changed. She can put her fingerprint at the bottom of the document. If cannot modify, so if is an intruder, okay, so if is an intruder, is an unauthorized person, so if cannot modify the contents of this document or create forged document because she cannot forge Alice's fingerprint. Okay, so you can modify the contents, but what about the fingerprint? That you cannot copy, that you cannot forge. So to ensure the document has not been changed, Alice's fingerprint on the document can be compared to Alice's fingerprint on the file. So if they are not the same, the document is not from Alice. Okay, so this is how actually in conventional way, okay, in the traditional way, this is how we use fingerprints in documents to ensure that whatever content the sender has sent, that content has been, you know, that content has been received by the receiver in the same manner. It has not been modified or altered by any third person. Okay, so to preserve integrity of a document, both document and fingerprint are needed. Okay, now we will try to understand this um, in terms of what you say, um, hashing. Okay, in terms of electronic uh, by electronic means. Okay, so now you see what we now come to two terms. What is, one is the message and one is the message digest. So you can think of a document to be a message in electronic terms, and the fingerprint that you have been using all this while to be message digest. Okay, so here we will be using these two terms, okay, message for document and message digest for fingerprint. Okay, so now we see how this works. So basically the electronic equivalent of the document and fingerprint pair is the message and message digest. Okay, so just as, you know, this is a document or a message. Okay, so what you will do is you have to place your fingerprint. So now since we are talking about electronic equivalents, here we will not place our physical thumb impression. We will not place it over the document because you have to send the file over the network. Yes, we are using electronic devices now to send the document or message. Okay, you don't have the hard copy with you. That is not the conventional way. So now how are you going to place your fingerprint there? So basically here our fingerprint will be replaced by one you know, digest. Okay, that is the message digest we call. So what is this digest actually? Okay, this digest that I'm talking, which is, you know, equivalent to the fingerprint. So this digest is actually prepared by, you know, the sending the message that you will be, you know, that you will be sending to the receiver through a hash function. So you have to give this message as an input to a hash function. So there will be some hash functions. Okay, so you have to just feed this message to the hash function. The hash function will perform some, you know, it will compute some value. Okay, it will do something out of that message, and it will generate a compressed, a compressed version of your message. Okay, it will do something with your message. Okay, the function will do something, and accordingly you will get a compressed version of the message that you fed to this function. Okay, that compressed version is called the message digest. Now you cannot, if you read this you will not be able to understand. Okay, so this is how actually in electronic media we will be using fingerprint in this manner, where we will not sign it physically. Here we will not sign the message physically, but instead we will apply a hash function to the message to create a message digest. Okay, to create a compressed version of the message, and that will be the fingerprint for our document. Okay, so to preserve the integrity of a message, the message is passed through an algorithm called the hash function. The hash function, there will be different hash functions. Okay, there will be different hash functions to create the message digest. Okay, the hash function creates a compressed image of the message that can be used as a fingerprint. The message and the message digest can be sent in a single file, just like document and fingerprint, which are physically linked, or it can be sent separately. So what do you understand? It's simply a comparison between the two. Okay, so just as talking about the conventional document and the fingerprint on it. So how do we send, what do we do there? Given a, you given a document, you just apply your finger impression. Okay, you just give your fingerprint on the document. So if you see, your fingerprint is physically linked to the document, so it is actually one document which will be sent. Okay, because you have applied your fingerprint on that document, so that will be one single document that will be sent. Okay, in case of message and message digest, it can be a single file. Okay, where you have the message and on top of that you have the digest attached. It can be a single file, or it can be sent separately, but this is not possible in case of conventional fingerprints, because you cannot send your fingerprints in a blank paper. You have to give your fingerprint on that document that you have written. So physically, in conventional way, this is not possible to send both the document and the fingerprint separately, but here it is possible. So message and message digest can either be sent in as a single file, or it can be sent as separate files. Okay, most importantly, the message digest needs to be kept secret. However, this message digest needs to be kept secret because it's a fingerprint. It's the sender's fingerprint. So this needs to be kept secret. It should not be shared. It is either kept secret in a safe place or encrypted if we need to send it through a communication channel. So either you can keep it to yourself after creating the digest, after signing the document. You can either keep it to yourself, or one thing you can do is, if there's a need to send the message digest along with the document, okay, over the internet, then what you can do is, you can first encrypt. You can do the encryption part first. Only after encrypting that message digest, you can finally send it over the communication channel. So what do we understand from here? Firstly, the message and the message digest can be a single document, can be a single file, or it can be separate files. However, it is very important to keep in mind that the message digest should always be kept secret. Either it will be kept with the sender itself, or if need arises, it needs to be, if need arises, okay, if you have to send it over the communication channel, it is important that you first encrypt it. Okay, first encrypt it, create a ciphertext out of it, and then send the message digest over the internet. Okay, so that somebody else does not you know uh, understand it, somebody else does not access it. Okay. Okay, so now we will look at the entire process. Okay, how it actually works, creating and checking the digest. So here, if you see, actually, here we have a picture. One side we have the sender side, and here we have the receiver side. Okay, now we will see how the message, starting with how the message, uh, how the message digest will be created out of the message, and how it will be sent to the receiver, and what the receiver will do with the message and the message digest. So here's the entire depiction. See, say Alice is the sender of the message. Okay, Alice has written some message. She wants to send it to Bob. Okay, now what will she do is, since we are talking about integrity, okay, she does not want her contents, the contents of the message to be altered. So she has to apply hash function. Okay, she has to ensure integrity of the message. For that, she will be applying some hash function, and accordingly we have different algorithms for that. Okay, there are different algorithms, like we have MD5 or message digest 5, we have SHA-1. Okay, so accordingly we have different algorithms, okay, that will perform this hashing. So based on the algorithm used, okay, some hash function will be performed on the message, and then we get a digest from that message. Okay, now this digest, as I told you already, the original message and the digest, okay, this together will be sent over the internet now. Okay, if you see, this is the same message as the previous one. Nothing has been done to this message, it is the same message, but we have also attached a message digest along with this message, so both will be sent over the internet. Okay, here in the receiving end we have Bob. Okay, now these two reaches the receiving end. Okay, this is the digest, this is a message. Bob will keep the digest aside. Okay, Bob will keep the digest aside. What will he do is, he will take the same message that he has received from Alice. Now he will perform a hash function on the message again. So here hashing is done in both sides, in the receiving side also, in the sending side also. Okay, just as Alice performed the just as Alice created a hash function out of the message, similarly on receiving the message, Bob will also create a digest from the message he has received. Okay, so he will just feed it into some hash function. Okay, usually the same algorithms are used. Okay, same algorithms are used. So the same hash algorithm will be used to compute the digest. Okay, now Bob has the newly generated digest with him. Also he has the digest that was sent by Alice. Yes. So now Bob will compare both the digest. So this was the digest that was being generated by Alice, and this is the digest which is generated by Bob after receiving the message. Okay. Now Bob will compare both the digests. If there is a match, Bob will understand that there were no modifications to the message midway. And if there is no match, Bob will understand that the message has been uh, changed midway, it has been altered midway by some other person, and therefore Bob will simply discard the message. Okay, so this is how, you know, the receiver can be, can ensure, the receiver can be sure about the integrity of the message, whether or not it is the same message as sent by Alice, or it has been modified by some other person. Is it fine till here? Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Baki bilak?
Yes, ma'am.
বাকীবোৰৰ কি হয়? খালি অভিনাশ আৰু প্ৰশান্তে কৈ থাকে, বাকী এটাৰো মাত চাত নুশুনো মই।
মেম বুজি পাইছো।
পাইছা? ঠিক আছে। So this is how message digest is created, and this is how we ensure integrity. Okay. Okay. See, the digest created by a hash function is normally called a modification detection code. Okay, so please remember this, MDC, modification detection code. So using this code, okay, because this is the digest that was sent by Alice, so this was the digest of the original message. Yes, this was the digest of the original message. So this original digest has been received by the receiver. Okay, and this is the digest that Bob has generated using the message he received from the sender. So Bob should be sure that whether this is the original message as sent by Alice, or this is a tempered message, this is a modified message. So for that, he will himself generate one digest for, uh, for proving, okay, to be sure whether or not the digests are same, whether or not the original messages are same. So for that, he will be creating his own digest from the message he has received, and then he will do a comparison between the original messages digest and the received messages digest. If both are same, that means the message is the same, else he will discard. Okay. And since depending on the digest, one can detect whether or not modification is being made or not. That is why the message digest is called modification detection code. Do not forget this. Okay. Next we discuss about message authentication. Okay. Now it is important that a sender has sent a message, so the receiver should know whether it is the sender, actual sender from whom the message has come, or it is from someone else who is claiming to be the sender. Okay. So it might happen that you see, say there are three, say there you have two users, A and B. Okay, A is the sender, B is the receiver. So A has sent, suppose, okay, there is a third person, C. Okay, so C, what he or she can do is, C can use the credentials of A. Okay, C is some unauthorized person. What C can do is, C can use the credentials, the ID and password of A, claiming that C is A. Okay, and can send the message to B, the receiver, and B will think that, okay, since this message is from A, so let me reply back to A. Okay, suppose C has asked for some bank account details. Okay, C wants to get access to the bank account of B. So what C will do is, A is the bank, C can use A's credentials to get in touch with B. So accordingly, C will try to pose as A. Okay, C will try to pose as A. C will use A's credentials to communicate with B, and since B will think that, okay, so this is some information from the bank A, so I am to provide all these details to my bank, so accordingly B will send all the details, personal details, to A. But B will never know that this was not A, but this was actually some third person, some unauthorized person, C, who was posing to be A. Okay, so this should not happen. Okay, so this will violate authentication. So this is all about message authentication. So message authentication helps establish proof of identities. The sender should be able to identify that he is the one who has sent the message and not some other person. Okay, so when Alice sends a message to Bob, Bob needs to check the authenticity of the sender. He needs to be sure that the message comes from Alice and not Eve. Bob can ask Alice to sign the message electronically. Now, how will the sender prove his or her identity? By signing the document. Yes or no? Just as we place our signatures at the end of the document. What is that? That is nothing but that is our identity. Yes? So here, the sender will be using his or her signature to prove that, yes, I am the one who has sent you the message. Okay, so here Bob will ask Alice to sign the message electronically. So since we are talking about electronic media, okay, so here we will do that electronically. Okay, in other words, an electronic signature can prove the authenticity of Alice as the sender of the message. We refer to this type of signature as digital signature. So just as fingerprint, you are also aware of signatures that we do. We are still doing it. Yes, we are still using it everywhere. Wherever you go, you are asked to sign. So what is that? That is your identity. Okay, that is you. Fine, that will prove that, okay, this person has signed this. That means it is him. Okay, so you are aware of signatures. Now, since we are talking about electronic equivalence, here we will talk about digital signature. How digitally we can do the same thing. Okay, how digitally we can sign on a document. Okay, so that is all about digital signatures. You see, first we do a comparison. Okay, a conventional signature is included in the document. So just as a fingerprint, just as you add a fingerprint in your document, we sign in documents. So even in case of document and the conventional signature, they are the single file. It is a signature is the part of the document. It is a single file. Okay. When we write a check, the signature is on the check. It is not a separate document. Yes. On the other hand, when we sign a document digitally, we send the signature as a separate document. The sender sends two documents, the message and the signature. So digitally, signature is not a part of the message. Digitally, these two are separate files. Okay. The recipient receives both the documents and verifies that the signature belongs to the supposed sender. If this is proved, the message is kept, otherwise it is rejected. Okay, so here we will the the procedure here is somewhat similar to hashing. Okay, the procedure here is somewhat similar to hashing. It also follows almost the same kind of procedure, except that here we will apply a signature. Okay, we will apply a signature on top of the message digest. That is it. So the same thing will be done even in here. Okay, just we have to remember that conventionally the document and the signature, they are a single file. Okay, signature is a part of the document, but digitally the signature and the message are separate files, and both needs to be sent to the receiver, and then receiver will verify whether or not the signature is from the sender, whether or not it is valid. Okay, and depending on that, he will either accept the message or he will discard the message. Okay, one important thing to remember here is a digital signature needs a public key system. Okay, so here we will be needing a public key system. That is, we will be needing a public private key pair, just as in the crypto system, asymmetric key encryption. Yes, just as asymmetric key encryption, here also we will be needing a public key system. Okay, so we have, see here we have process. So the digital signatures can be achieved in two ways. That is, first you have to sign the document, okay, or signing a digest of the document. Okay, so it can be done in two ways. You can either sign the document or you can sign the digest that has been obtained from the document. First is signing the document. So signing the document is encrypting it with the private key of the sender. Verifying the document is decrypting it with the public key of the sender. So in signing the document, what you can do is you can directly sign the document, and signing the document means you are actually encrypting it. So you are using a key. And what key are you using for signing? You are using the private key of the sender. Okay, remember this. You are using the private key of the sender. So the sender will use his or her own private key to sign the document. Signing means encrypting. Okay. And once it is sent, okay, the receiver will use the public key of the sender to decrypt it. Fine. So see, there's only 1 minute left. So if this session ends, please join back using the same link. It will end anytime soon.